his hero of On the Road. I met Neil C., who told me, "I'm the tough young jail kid." "Yeah," I said, "have a beer." He flipped the beer bottle, caught it, broke the cap off on the table edge, drained it. A week later, he was dead. Now they are both dead. I don't know what to do. There seems to be no way of stopping this thing. Soup, cosmos, and tears. I've known some crazy women, but the craziest was Annette. And it seems the crazier they are, the better they lay, and what bodies they give them. Annette always lived with the Chinese, but you never saw them. That's what scared you. Even the mafia is scared of the Chinese. Where's the dragon kid? That's all right. He knows you're all right. You sure? When they put the X on you, you might as well forget it. I told them you were all right. That's all they need. Annette had incense burning, all sorts of charts and weirdo books. She always talked about the gods. She had a direct line with the gods. "You've been selected by the gods," she told me. "Okay, babe, let's make it then." "Not right now. I want you to try this secret soup I've made." "Secret soup?" "Yes, eat it, and you will inherit many of the forces of the earth and sun, the entire cosmos." I went in and ate the soup. Frankly, it tasted all right, though a bit rusty. No telling what the hell she had put in there. I finished it. I feel like a man of steel now. "You have inherited the force," she said. "The gods are proud of you." On the couch, I finally got hold of her. Under that loose orange gown was enough woman to kill an ox. I lived in that hotel in Paris. I slept with all of them, Burroughs, the whole gang. I knew Pound at St. Liz. You slept with Ezra? More than any. Oh, fuck. Go, she laughed, ahead. It had been a good soup. Those Paris boys and Ezra had known a good mare. I rolled off. When she came out of the bathroom, she had a bottle in her hand and began sprinkling me with the contents. "Hey, what's that shit?" "The tears of the gods." "The tears of the gods?" "Yes, the tears of the gods." I laid there until she was finished. Then I got up and dressed. "When can I see you again?" "In 2 hours or tomorrow." I walked to the door. "You walk like a poem," she said. "See you in 2 hours," I told her. The door closed. What a man had to go through for a piece of ass in the modern age was highly ridiculous. I think of the little men. This is probably a poem you may not like. Anyhow, I think of the little men. I think of the little men coming out of the north with rags around their bodies and wanting to kill you. You dead bastards, you have death coming to you. I think of the little men sitting in dirty caves, smoking, talking about you. You dead bastards, you have death coming to you. I think of the little men half your size, with bodies like roaches, with flat bellies, speaking a language you'll never know. You dead bastards, you dead bastards. You've got it coming. And your fat, soft wives in pantyhose with cardboard cunts, supermarket brains, and immaculate suburban cum and clean mortgage bedrooms in hell. They've got it coming, those dead cunts. I think of the little men coming out of the north with rags around their bodies and wanting to kill you. You dead bastards, you have death coming to you. That includes me. Like that. One of the most beautiful blondes of the screen. Unbelievable breasts, hips, legs, waist, everything. In that car crash, it took her head right off her body, like that. There was her head rolling along the side of the road, lipstick on, eyebrows plucked, suntan powder on, bandana around hair. It rolled along like a beach ball, and the body sat in the car with those breasts, hips, legs, waists. Waists? You only have one waist, don't you? Everything. And in the mortuary, they put her together again, sewed the head back on. Jesus Christ, said the guy with the thread. What a waste. There's that word again. Then he went out and had a hamburger, French fries, and 2 cups of coffee, black. Another academy. How they can go on. You see them sitting in old doorways with dirty stained caps and thick clothes and no place to go. Heads bent down, arms on knees, they wait. Or they stand in front of the mission, 700 of them, quiet as oxen, waiting to be let into the chapel where they will sleep upright on the hard benches, leaning against each other, snoring and dreaming. Men without. In New York City, where it often gets colder, and they are hunted by their own kind, the men often get under the car radiators, drink the antifreeze, get warm and graceful for some minutes, then die. But that is an older culture and a wiser one. Here they scratch and wait, while on Sunset Boulevard the hippies and yippies hitchhike in $50 boots. Out in front of the mission, I heard one guy say to another, John Wayne won it. Won what? Said the other guy, tossing the last of his rolled cigarette into the street. I thought that was rather good. I have a friend who keeps taking me down to Skid Row. Since I spent the early part of my life there, I don't learn too much by going back. Except it's not a nice place to have a typewriter. And no place is really nice unless you have a typewriter. You can do without a woman, but you can't do without a typewriter. My father was 1 can of beer, a day at the ball game, a color TV, a lawn to mow, a son in college, a pool table, a power saw, a workbench, a joke about sex, a child to scream at, a neighbor to hate, a door to lock, a bank to visit, 4 pairs of shoes, a light suit, a dark suit, a deck of cards, hospital insurance, life insurance, an inner spring mattress, a talking barber, memories of war, a diploma, an attic, fire insurance, a pet dog, a pet cat, a camera, a tape recorder, a Christmas Eve, a chicken dinner, a Thanksgiving dinner, a Sunday drive, church, garden, cigars, garbage disposal, the right to vote, a mahogany coffin, one day of mourning, forget it. This one is called The Lesbian, and it's dedicated to all of them. I was sitting on my couch one night, as per custom, in shorts and undershirt, drinking beer and not thinking too much, when there was a knock on the door. Now what the hell, I thought. What is it, I asked. I got a slim one for you. A slim one? It sounded like a woman's voice. Wait a minute, I asked. I went into the bedroom, put on a ripped shirt and my dirty chino pants. Then I came out and opened the door. It was a lesbian from the place in back. I brought a slim one for you, she said. Oh, yeah? She was in a tight sweater and shorts. She turned in the moonlight. See? I lost 20 pounds. You like it? Come on in, I said. She sat in a chair across from me and crossed her legs. Don't tell the landlady I came by, she said. Don't worry, I said. Then she crossed her legs the other way. They had these big purple bruises all over them. I wondered who had put them there. She talked and asked questions and talked. Who was that woman who came by with the little girl? My little girl. Was it my little girl? Yes, but they don't live here. My, that's nice. Her father supported her, she said. Her father was a nice man. Was that my painting on the wall? Yes, it was. She knew something about art, she said. Did I have a girlfriend? What did I do when I wasn't sleeping? Then she stood up, walked over and stuck her breasts into my face. You don't want any, do you? She pointed over to a potty chair in the corner. You still use that? Ah, yes. It pinches my cheeks a bit, but it brings back memories. Good night. She ran to the door, opened it, slammed it. Good night, I said, and then finished my bottle of beer, thinking, I wonder what's wrong with her tonight. Then there was a man with little tiny legs running back there. He had this long body, and these little tiny legs began where an ordinary man's legs would be. And he ran along on these little tiny legs, packing baskets of food to the lesbian in back there. My, there's something wrong with that poor little fellow, I thought. The landlord ran him out of there one morning at 5 a.m. Hey, what the hell are you doing up there? Get the hell out of here. The landlord chased him up the driveway. I have quite a landlord, by the way. Let's get back to the point. You're up there every morning at 3 a.m. I'm getting sick of it. Don't you ever sleep? What the hell's wrong with your legs? I sleep, I work nights. They came running past my window. You work nights? What the hell's the matter with you? Why don't you get a job working days? Little Legs just kept running. He made a quick turn around the hedge and was up the street. The landlord screamed after him. You damn fool! Don't you know she's a dyke? What the hell are you gonna do with a dyke? There was no answer, of course. Then the fellow in the next court, a chap a bit on the subnormal side, inherited $20,000. Next thing I knew, the lesbian's voice was in there. The walls were quite thin. God, she got down on her knees and scrubbed all the floors and kept running out the back door with the trash. He must have had a year's worth of trash in there. Each time she ran out the back, the stream gore. What kind of door is that? Each time she ran out the back, the screen door would go bam, bam, bam. And when she came back in, the screen door would go bam, bam, bam. It must have happened 70 times in an hour and a half. She was showing him. My bedroom was next to theirs. At night, I'd hear him mount her. There wasn't much action, quite dead. Only one body in motion, your guess. A few days later, the lesbian started to take over, coming in from the kitchen. Oh no, Buster, get up, get up. You can't go to bed this time of day. I'm not going to make your bed twice. Then a week later, it was over. I didn't hear her voice anymore. She was again in her place and back. I was standing on my porch one day thinking about it. Poor thing, why doesn't she get a girlfriend? Then I looked up, and here came our Sappho down the driveway. It was too late to run into my place. I stood quietly trying to be part of the porch. She came by in her white shorts and neck bent like a vulture. And then she saw me and made this incredible sound. Yuck! Good morning, I said. Yuck! She went again. God damn, I thought, she thinks I'm a bird. I walked quickly into my place and closed the door and looked through the curtains. She was out there breathing heavily. Then she began to flail her arms up and down, going, yuck, yuck, yuck. She's gone nuts, I thought. Then slowly, she began to rise into the air. Oh no, I thought. She was about 3 feet above the hedge, flailing the air, her breast bouncing sadly, her giant legs kicking, looking for notches in the air. Then she rose higher and higher. She was above the apartment houses, rising high into the Los Angeles smog. Then she was over Sunset Boulevard, high above the Crocker Citizens Bank. And then I saw another object come flying from the south. It seemed to be all body with just these little short legs at the back. Then they flew toward each other. When I saw them embrace in midair, I turned away, walked into the kitchen and pulled down all the shades, and waited for the end of the world. My head rang like a bell, and I began to weep. She's still back there, by the way. The only way I could get rid of her was make her fly away. You must realize I'm no more I shouldn't apologize, but I guess some of you are a little touchy on the subject. I'm no more anti-lesbian than I am anti-shoe or homosexual or anti-whiskey. So, I think I'll read one more and we'll take a 5-minute. Is that allowed to take a break with all this gizmo stuff going on? Can you cut it off for 5? I'll read one more. We can take 5? Okay, man. Thank you. This one's called The Night I Killed Tommy. The Roach Hotel is still there, and you walk by the desk clerk. It is not the same desk clerk of 15 years ago, but the elevator is the same, and he watches you get on with her, same wire front, and you turn a handle on the side that points to the floor desired, and the elevator smells like piss and rocks and rises and trembles, slowly, so slowly upwards you barely feel the movement. And there's the 3rd floor, and you get off, and she has the key out, her door opens, and she puts on a light, unshaded, and you have time to see a wall full of roaches slide under the paper. Where the wall had no space uncovered, there are now only 4 or 5 roaches, too old or stupid or bold to move, and they sit there waving their feelers at you, and she's already pulling her dress off. You don't look. You switch off the light and then hear a sound like paper being torn. And they're all out on the walls again as you undress, find the bed, fondle mush, as her hand reaches your soft cock, strokes it. You kiss a mouth that smells of a lifetime of wine and beer, and then you mount. She grunts a grunt that is almost a belch, and as the roaches wave their feelers toward you in the dark, you imagine chrysanthemums and young girls walking down the street, and you bring it off, dismount, use the edge of the sheet, dress in the dark, as she stretches there, thinking of what? And dressed, you turn on the light to find a 10 in your wallet, as the roaches slide under the paper again, except for the 4 or 5, and you lay the 10 on her belly, and then look at the fattest roach, take off one shoe and flatten him. He falls like a stinking chip of life, and she giggles. Ah, shit, you bastard, you killed Tommy. Back on the elevator. It's slow going down, too, but you're alone. Lobby, you point the arrow, and then you're in the lobby. Pull back the huge wire door, and the clerk looks up from his newspaper. His look expresses nothing at all. He's back to his newspaper. The steps outside are as wide and long as cathedral steps. 24 steps, and you're across the street from the pet food shop where the crazy woman keeps dead meat until it is black and stinks as she smiles through the flies. The pet shop is still there. The Roach Hotel is still there. As I walk away, I can see her still up there. And now the roaches are on her body, as she lifts a wine bottle in the dark room, and the largest roach of all mounts her cunt, throws in his roach penis, and she says, "Oh, Danny, oh, Jesus, Danny! Let's take 5. Oh, got a hair hanging. How long's that hair been hanging down? That's not... Oh, God. A last shot on 2 good horses. It was about 10 years ago at Hollywood Park. I had a shack job, 2 cars, a house, a dog as big as Nero drunk. And I was making it with the horses, or I thought I was. But going into the 7th race, I was down to my last $50. And I put the $50 on determined. And then I wanted a cup of coffee, but I only had a dime left, and coffee was then 15 cents. I went into the crapper, come on in, and I wanted to flush myself away. They had me. All I had left was that piece of paper in my wallet. And I would have been willing, come on in. And I would have been willing to sell that back for $40, but I was ashamed. Well, I went out and watched the race and determined won. I collected and set aside a 10 and put the remainder all on my boy Bobby. My boy Bobby made it. I collected and stood over in the corner, separating the 50s and 20s and 10s and 5s. And then I drove on in. I gave her the thumb up as I drove up the drive. And when I got inside, I threw all the money up into the air. She was a beautiful whore, and her eyes almost came out when she saw that. And the dog ran in and snatched a 10 and ran into the kitchen. And I was pouring drinks, and she said, "Hey, the hound got a tenner." Her voice was like that, too, used to crack. And I said, "Hell, let him have it." We drank him down. Then I said, I think I'll get that 10 anyhow. And I walked in and took it from him. It was only chewed a little. And that night on the bed, she showed me all the tricks in Wonderland. And later it rained, and we listened to Carmen and drank and laughed all night long. Days and nights like that just don't happen too often. It was a magic night, and I finally had to bury her. She was a very wonderful woman. Just a moment. Save the best poems for the last, by the way, so don't get discouraged. A drawing of a band concert on a matchbox. Life on paper is much more pleasurable. There are bombs, or there are no bombs, or flies, or landlords, or starving cats. And I am in the kitchen, staring down at the blue lake of the concert master, and also the trees, rowboats, boy with American flag, lady in yellow with fan, Civil War veteran, girl with balloon, spotted dog, sailboat, the peace of an ancient day with the sun dreaming old battles, John L. Sullivan emptying the pint in his dressing room and getting ready to whip the world like a bad child. Far from our modern life where a doctor sticks something in your side saying, "Is something making you nervous? Something is killing you." I open the matchbox, take out a beautiful wooden match, and light a cigar. I look out the window. It is raining. There will be nothing in the park today except bums and madmen. I blow the smoke against the wet glass and wonder what I'm doing inside here, dry and dying. And I hear the rain as the toilet flushes through the wall, a living neighbor, and the flowers open their arms for love. I sit down next to the lady in yellow with the fan, and she smiles at me. And we talk, only I can't hear for all the music. Your name, I keep asking, but she only smiles at me, and the dog is howling. That's howling, as dogs do. But yellow is my favorite color. Van Gogh liked it too, yellow. And I do not blow smoke in her face, and I am there. I'm actually down there in the matchbox, and I am here too. She smiles, and I lay her right on the stove, and it is hot, hot. The American flag waves in battle. Play your music, concertmaster, in your red coat with your hot July buttocks. The balloon pops, and I walk across the kitchen on a rainy day in February to check on eggs and bread and wine and sanity, to check on glue, to paste nice pictures on these walls. That's one of my more serious poems when I get away from the sex thing, which sometimes I manage to do now and then. This one is called Caca and Other Immolations. I wonder if, sure, kid, you want more apple juice? How can you drink that goddamn stuff? I hate it. What? No, I'm not Dr. Vogel. I'm the daddy, your old man. Where's Mama? She's out joining an artist colony. Oh, that's a place where people go who aren't artists. Yes, that's the way it works almost everywhere. Sometimes you can go into a hospital and be 40 floors high. There won't be a doctor in there, and hard to find a nurse either. What's a hospital? A hospital is just a bunch of disconnected buttons, dying people, and very sophisticated and comfortable orderlies. But the whole world is like this. Nobody knows what they're supposed to know. Poets can't write poetry. Mechanics can't fix your car. Fighters can't fight. Lovers can't love. Preachers can't preach. It's even like that with armies. Whole armies led without generals. Whole nations led without leaders. Why, the whole thing is like trying to copulate with a wooden dick. Oh, pardon me. How old are you? 3? 3 fingers. That's nice. You learn fast, my little ducky. What? More apple juice? Okay. You want to play train? You want to take me for a ride? Okay, Tucson. We'll go to Tucson. What the hell? Damn it, I don't know if we're there yet. You're driving. What? We're on the way back already. You want more candy? Shit, you've been eating candy for hours. Listen, I don't know when your mother will be back. Well, after signing up for the artist colony, she's going to a poetry reading. What's a poetry reading? A poetry reading is where people gather and read their poetry to each other, the ones who mostly can't write poetry. What's poetry? Nobody knows. It changes. It works by itself like a snail crawling up the side of a house. Oh, that's a big squashy thing that goes all gooey and slimy when you step on it. Am I a snail? I guess so, kid. What? You want a caca? Okay, go ahead. Can you get your own pants down? I don't see you very often. Oh, you want the light on? You want me to stay or go away? Stay? Oh, fine then. Now caca, little one. That's it, caca. So you can grow up to be a big woman and do what big women do. Caca. That's it, sweet. Ain't it funny? Mama caca, too. Oh, yeah. Wow, that's all right. Now wipe your ass. No, better than that. There, that's better. You say, I'm caca. Hey, that's good. I like that. Very funny. Now, let's get some more beer and apple juice. My daughter wrote that. Her name is Marina Louise Bukowski. She's now 5.5 years old. When she wrote that, I think she was about 3 or something like that. How can we be definite? Usually after I read this next poem, which is my 4th reading, I'm pretty raw. 3 or 4 people walk out because, I don't know, maybe they think I'm a traitor or something, but forget it, let me read it. I wanted to overthrow the government, but all I brought down was somebody's wife. 30 dogs, 20 men on 20 horses and 1 fox. And look here, they write, you're a duke for the state, the church. You are an ego dream. Read your history. Study the monetary system. Note that the racial war is 23,000 years old. Well, I remember 30 years ago, sitting with an old Jewish tailor, his nose in the lamplight like a cannon sighted on the enemy. And there was an Italian pharmacist who lived in an expensive apartment in the best part of town. We plotted to overthrow a tottering dynasty. The tailor sewing buttons upon a vest, the Italian poking a cigar in my eye, lighting me up, a tottering dynasty myself. Always drunk as possible, well-read, starving, depressed. But actually, a good young piece of ass would have solved all my rancor. But I didn't know this. I listened to my Italian and my Jew, and I went out down dark alleys smoking borrowed cigarettes and watching the backs of houses come down in flames. But somewhere we missed. We were not men enough, large or small enough. Or we only wanted to talk, or we were bored. So the anarchy fell through, and the Jew died, and the Italian grew angry because I stayed with his wife when he went down to the pharmacy. He did not care to have his personal government overthrown. And she overthrew easy. And I had some guilt. The children were asleep in the other bedroom. But later, I won $200 in a crap game, and I took a bus to New Orleans. And I stood on the corner listening to the music coming from the bars. And then I went inside to the bars, and I sat there thinking about the dead Jew, how all he did was sew on buttons and talk, and how he gave way, although he was stronger than any of us. He gave way because his bladder would not go on. And maybe that saved Wall Street and Manhattan and the church and Central Park West and Rome and the left bank. But the pharmacist's wife, she was nice. She was tired of bombs under the pillow and hissing the Pope. She had a very nice figure, very good legs. But I guess she felt his eye, that the weakness was not government, but man, one at a time. That men were never as strong as their ideas, and that ideas were governments turned into men. And so it began on a couch with a spilled martini, and it ended in the bedroom. Desire, revolution, nonsense ended, and the shades rattled in the wind, rattled like sabers, cracked like cannon, and 30 dogs, 20 men on 20 horses, chased one fox across the field under the sun, and I got out of bed and yawned and scratched my belly and knew that soon, very soon, I would have to get very drunk again, which I've been doing right along. Now, if I'm not happy, Rudy, you're not going to be happy. So, it's best we both be all right. Fire station is dedicated to Jane with love. She was a real good woman while she was around. She didn't last too long. Fire station for Jane with love. We came out of the bar because we were out of money. We had a couple of wine bottles in the room. It was about 4 in the afternoon, and we passed a fire station, and she started to go crazy. A fire station! Oh, I just love fire engines. They're so red and all. Let's go in. I followed her on in. Fire engine, she screamed, wobbling her big ass. She was already trying to climb up into one, pulling her skirt up to her waist, trying to jackknife up into the seat. Here, let me help you, a fireman ran up. Another fireman walked up to me. Our citizens are always welcome, he told me. The other guy was up in the seat with her. You got one of those big things? She asked him. I mean, one of those big helmets. I got a big helmet, too, he told her. You play cards? I asked my fireman. I had 43 cents and nothing but time. Come on in back, he said. Of course, we don't gamble. It's against the rules. I understand, I told him. I'd run my 43 cents up to $1.90 when I saw her going upstairs with her fireman. He's going to show me their sleeping quarters, she said. I understand, I told her. When her fireman slid down the pole 10 minutes later, I nodded him over. That'll be $5. $5 for that? We wouldn't want a scandal, would we? We might both lose our jobs. Of course, I'm not working. He gave me the $5. Sit down, you might win it back. What you plan? Blackjack. Gambling's against the law. Anything interesting is. Besides, you see any money on the table? He sat down. That made 5 of us. How was it, Harry? Somebody asked him. Not bad, not bad. The other guy went on upstairs. They were bad players, really. They didn't bother to memorize the deck. They didn't know whether the high numbers and no low numbers were left. And basically they hit too high, didn't hold low enough. When the other guy came down, he gave me a 5. How was it, Marty? Not bad. She's got some fine movements. Hit me, I said. Nice, clean girl. I write it myself. Nobody said anything. Any big fires lately, I asked. Nah, nothing much. You guys need exercise. Hit me again. A big red-headed kid had been shining an engine, threw down his rag, and went upstairs. When he came down, he threw me a 5. When the 4th guy came down, I gave him 3 5s for a 20. Well, I don't know how many firemen were in the building or where they were. I figured a few had slipped by me, but I was a good sport. It was getting dark outside when the alarm rang. They started running around. Guys came sliding down the pole. Then she came sliding down the pole. She was good with the pole. A real woman. Nothing but guts and ass. Let's go, I told her. She stood there waving goodbye to the firemen, but they didn't seem much interested anymore. Let's go back to the bar, I told her. Oh, you got money? I found some I didn't know I had. We sat at the end of the bar with whiskey and beer. I sure got a good sleep. Sure, baby, you need your sleep. Look at that sailor looking at me. He must think I'm a... No, he don't think that. Relax. You got real class. Sometimes you remind me of an opera singer, you know, one of those prima donnas. Your class shows all over you. Drink up. I ordered 2 more. You know, Daddy, you're the only man I love. I mean, really love, you know. Sure, I know. Sometimes I think I'm king in spite of myself. Yeah, that's what I mean. Something like that. I had to go to the urinal. When I came back, the sailor was sitting in my seat. She had her leg up against his, and he was talking. I walked over and got into a dart game with Harry the horse and the corner newsboy. Let me find this last poem I wrote. I was going to hustle roses down the avenues of the dead. Here it is. For Christ's sake, page 40. Oh, pardon. Delete that. Page 49. Delete it. Don't delete it, delete it. Okay, we're going to wrap it now. Finish it up. I want to thank something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. We have everything and we have nothing. And some men do it in churches, and some men do it by tearing butterflies in half. And some men do it in Palm Springs, laying it into butter blinds with Cadillac souls. Cadillacs and butterflies, nothing and everything. The face melting down to the last puff in a cellar in Corpus Christi. There's something for the touts, the nuns, the grocery clerks, and you. Something at 8 a.m., something in the library, something in the river, everything and nothing. In the slaughterhouse, it comes running along the ceiling on a hook, and you swing it. 1, 2, 3, and then you've got it. $200 worth of dead meat. Its bones against your bones. Something and nothing. It's always early enough to die, and it's always too late. And the drill of blood in the basin white, it tells you nothing at all. And the grave diggers playing poker over 5 a.m. coffee, waiting for the grass to dismiss the frost. They tell you nothing at all. We have everything and we have nothing. Days with glass edges and the impossible stink of river moss, worse than shit. Checkerboard days of moves and counter moves, fagged interest, with as much sense in defeat as in victory. Slow days like mules, humping it slagged and sullen and sun-glazed, up a road where a madman sits, waiting among blue jays and wrens, all of them netted in and sucked to flaky gray. Good days, too, of wine and shouting, fights in alleys, fat legs of women striven around your bowels, buried in moans. The signs and bull rings like diamonds hollering, Mother Capri. Violets coming out of the ground, telling you to forget the dead armies and the loves that robbed you. Days when children say funny and brilliant things like savages, trying to send you a message through their bodies, while their bodies are still alive enough to transmit and feel and run up and down without locks and paychecks and ideals and possessions and beetle-like opinions. Days when you can cry all day long in a green room with the door locked. Days when you can laugh at the bread man because his legs are too long. Days of looking at hedges. And nothing, and nothing, and nothing, days of and nothing. The days of the bosses, yellow men with bad breath and big feet. Men who look like frogs, hyenas. Men who walk as if melody had never been invented. Men who think it is intelligent to hire and fire and profit. Men with expensive wives they possess, like 60 acres of ground to be drilled or shown off, or to be walled away from the incompetent. Men who'd kill you because they're crazy and justify it because it's the law. Men who stand in front of windows 30 feet wide and see nothing. Men with luxury yachts who can sail around the world and they can't get out of their vest pockets. Men like snails, men like eels, men like slugs, and not as good. And nothing. Getting your last paycheck at a harbor, at a factory, at a hospital, at an aircraft plant, at a penny arcade, at a barber shop, at a job you didn't want anyway. Income tax, sickness, servility, broken arms, broken heads, all the stuffing come out like an old pillow. We have everything and we have nothing. Some do it well enough for a while and then give way. Fame gets them, or disgust, or age, or lack of proper diet, or ink across the eyes, or children in college, or new cars, or broken backs while skiing in Switzerland, or new politics, or new wives, or just natural change and decay. The man you knew yesterday, hooking for 10 rounds, or drinking for 3 days and 3 nights by the Sawtooth Mountains, now just something under a sheet, or a cross, or a stone, or under an easy delusion, or packing a Bible, or a golf bag, or a briefcase. How they go, all the ones you thought would never go. Days like this, like your day today, maybe the rain on the window, trying to get through to you. What do you see today? What is it? Where are you? The best days are sometimes the first, sometimes the middle, and even sometimes the last. The vacant lots are not bad. Churches in Europe on postcards are not bad. People in wax museums frozen into their best sterility are not bad. Horrible, but not bad. The cannon, think of the cannon. And toast for breakfast. And coffee hot enough, you know your tongue is still there. 3 geraniums outside a window, trying to be red and trying to be pink and trying to be geraniums. No wonder sometimes the women cry. No wonder the mules don't want to go up the hill. Are you in a hotel room in Detroit looking for a cigarette? One more good day, a little bit of it. And as the nurses come out of the building after their shift, having had enough, some of them want a man. Some of them are hardly thinking at all. Enough and not enough. Arcs and pilgrims, oranges, gutters, ferns, antibodies, boxes of tissue paper. In the most decent sometimes sun, there's a soft smoke feeling from urns and the canned sound of old battle planes. And if you go inside and run your finger along the window ledge, you'll find dirt, maybe even earth. And if you look out the window, there will be the day. And as you get older, you'll keep looking, sucking your tongue in a little. No, maybe. Some do it naturally, some do it obscenely, everywhere. Thank you, folks.